Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Breaking news today in the NFL as longtime Eagles center Jason Kelce officially has announced his retirement. Kelce was drafted in 2011 by the Eagles out of Cincinnati in the 6th round and is a Super Bowl champion, a 6-time first-team All-Pro player, and a 7-time Pro Bowler. In other NFL news, the Tampa Bay Bucks and wide receiver Mike Evans have agreed to a 2-year, $52 million contract that includes $35 million in guaranteed money. According to his agent, Evans has gone over 1,000 yards receiving for the Bucks every year of his career since coming into the league. In 2014, he was set to be a free agent. And on Sunday morning, tragic news as the family of longtime ESPN NFL reporter Chris Mortensen announced that he passed away at the age of 72. The award-winning reporter had been battling cancer since 2016. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Well, what's happening, everybody? Happy Monday. Blaine and Mickey here. Man, what a weekend. Vols got Bama again. Swept them on the season. Preds have won 8 in a row.
That was my shot, too. I called 5 points. How much did they win by?
A lot more than 5.
No, 7.
It was more than 5.
We had barely more than 5. A bucket. Oh, I might have been close.
That game had me sweating bullets.
Yeah, your boy's still recovering from his weekend here. That about broke bananas. He was worried about it.
My blood pressure was through the roof watching the end of that game.
No, I was pretty confident they were going to win. Before and during.
Hey, they held them, 74 points? They averaged 91.
Yeah,
they're top scoring team in the nation.
You knew they were going to play some defense. Oh, and did they have to? Oh, my.
That was their second lowest point total of the season, 74.
Yeah, that was a tough sledding there. A lot of different guys coming into play there.
Mm-hmm. Sole possession now first in the SEC for the Vols. Tide went more than 9 minutes down the stretch at one point without a field goal.
Right,
they actually
did it. Mm-hmm.
They scored 12 straight to end the first half to take the lead. But Tennessee, the defense clamped them down in the second half. So they got to go to South Carolina on Wednesday. Then they got, as fate would have it, you close out the year against Kentucky at home.
Yeah. So worst case scenario, if they lost, they could still win or tie for first or no?
So if they win both games, I know that they outright win it. If they lose once, then they can share a portion of the title.
Okay.
Yeah. So in order to win it outright, they got to win. I think they got to win both games or have someone else lose.
I was trying to pull up the worst case scenario because you, as an athlete, you're always trying to draw to the points that doesn't make you feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And the pressure points are, okay, well, damn, all we got to do is win 1 out of 2 here.
And they share. They share.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to share, so you want to win it outright.
Well, sweeping Bama, too, they would then be the number 1 seed, right?
Yeah,
I mean, is it that simple? Because they swept them.
In the SEC tournament?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Boy, I mean, Kentucky fans always come down here. Like, they come on the days they don't even play for the tournament. But you roll into this thing, all the Bama people coming up here and all the Vols fans who'll be coming from right down the street, and then throw in the fact that it's normally the Kentucky Invitational because so many of their fans show up. It is going to be so much fun here.
It's going to be living.
In these 2 games versus South Carolina and Kentucky, they have more than just SEC standings to worry about. This could be a national seeding standing in terms of the March Madness
For the NCAA tournament.
with a 1 seed on the line. Because right now, Arizona is the 1 team ahead of them. And I think Arizona has 2 more quad 1 wins than Tennessee. But these next 2 games are quad 1 win opportunities for Tennessee, which I think if they win the games and they look good doing it, I don't know how you could argue, especially after this final stretch of 4 games, ranked Auburn, ranked Bama, ranked South Carolina, ranked Kentucky. I don't know how you could say they went 4-0 in that stretch, and they shouldn't be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
I wonder how nervous Vol fans are, though, still, because this is within striking distance to win the regular season conference title. Have a chance to be a number 1 seed. I wonder if we just went around town with a microphone and asked Vol fans, how confident are you in this team in the NCAA tournament?
To win in the 1 seed?
To win is anything. I mean, once they get there.
Oh, well, yeah. I think that, for whatever reason, this team looks different to me. I don't know why. I think it's just because, not just connect, but I feel like they can score. They hadn't had so many games where they couldn't score. You know, there used to be other game times. You just like, oh, my, they could barely get 55. Now that number is more in the 70s. So I feel like they got a better shot of winning because you ultimately got to put up points. Always going to defend. So I think this year's I think they'll get one more step further than they normally make it.
Do you think so they made a Sweet 16 last year.
The next step is
The Elite Eight?
Yeah, I think they'll make the Elite Eight.
Because right now, Final Four is the projection for this team. Is what a lot of national people are saying, is that they're going to get to the Final Four.
Disappoint, but they're going to Final Eight.
That would be the...
I hope they do make Final Four. That would be so awesome.
The Elite Eight, that would be their second Elite Eight appearance in program history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a step up. Better than what you usually done. Can't necessarily complain about it if you're a Vol fan, but I still feel where the disappointment would come in if you only got to the Elite Eight.
I'm like Blaine. This team is just different. And having Connect, Ziegler playing the way he plays, you still got the senior leadership with the old guys, even though their roles have diminished. Your bigs are playing better.
I do, yeah. Vescovy, Jane, any one of those guys can pop off if you lock down, Connect. Ziegler really is the key component to their team to me. Not just because it's not scoring obviously. I just think keeping everybody involved in this defensive pressure. Really, if a team gets him in contain or he gets in foul trouble, I think that's when they'll really, really be tested.
You used to always talk about these guys too, Blameless. They just played so much defense so hard. They expended so much effort on defense.
They don't have it. They have legs for the.
There's no legs to shoot on the other end.
Yeah, and I think this team has kind of figured out a little bit more of the balance. Where before, I think Barnes' past teams were more defensive oriented, and it was tougher to score. So I think the scoring is going to ultimately get them to another round. I'm hoping more though, man. Dang, because at any point, any of those guys, James, Vescovy, they could take over some games.
And they've shown that they don't need Dalton Connect to win games. Four fouls, 13 points, and he was not on the floor for a long time. And I know their scoring differential when he was on the floor versus when he wasn't on the floor was varied, but they were still in that game when he wasn't on the floor. Also,
it was a defensive presence there with Muschamp.
Mashack, Jemai Mashack.
Mashack, who, to me, he was actually what turned around the game because I think he scored an open three, and then he stole the ball, and then they scored another shot. So I thought that was the turning point of the game in the second half. Yeah, I thought that was they kind of took control after that.
And to beat them at your place, then to go beat them at their place. You were on a team that beat another team 3 times in a season. That's basically impossible. It's hard to beat somebody twice in a season, especially when you're as good as they are at basketball. It's hard to beat anybody.
Both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's bring John and Franklin into this discussion. You want to join Blaine and Mickey, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors? Hop on the phone, 615-737-1045. What's up, John?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, man.
Good. Hey, I heard you guys talking about the different scenarios that could play out. There is one scenario where we could wrap it up Wednesday night with a win at South Carolina, and that's with Florida beating Bama tomorrow night in Gainesville.
Ooh.
In Gainesville, which is possible.
Oh yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, Florida, they've been playing well down the stretch. I'd have to go look and see what their last couple of games were, but I know they were on a hot streak at one point. They might have lost this weekend, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I was looking at standings. I think SEC is going to get 7 teams in for sure.
Oh, yeah, so Florida actually blew a lead to South Carolina. South Carolina ended up winning at home 82-76. But before that, they played Alabama close a couple weeks ago. Remember, they took them to overtime. Alabama ended up winning 98-93. And then they had back-to-back wins versus Vanderbilt, Missouri, the bottom 2 teams. But they were playing well. That Florida-Alabama game that went to OT, they looked really good and just they got exhausted there. Alabama just continued to outshoot like they outshoot everybody. So there's a chance Florida could do that. And if that happens, then Wednesday means a lot more for the Vols.
Yeah.
So Tennessee is currently 4th. Auburn is 13. Kentucky is 15. Alabama is 16. South Carolina is 17. So 5 ranked teams. Those are the top 5 teams in the conference. Florida is next. They're 10-6 in the SEC and 20-9 overall.
Oh, so that's only 6 right there.
Mississippi State is 8-8 in the conference and 19-10 overall. So that might be your next bid. LSU 8-8 and 16-13. Ole Miss 7-9 and 20-9. Going down the standings there. Let's get Jason in the borough next right quick. Just because we're talking Tennessee basketball. We'll go to Jim Wyatt next, but Jason in the borough up next. What's up, Jason?
What's up, guys?
Man.
I just wanted to say I just came back from a Royal Caribbean cruise from the Bahamas.
Woo.
And was so excited, man, to hear that the Vols are still on that streak. They hadn't lost any of these games yet. And then also I want to shout out to the Preds as well for 8-game win streak, man.
Yeah.
Let's keep it up.
Heck yeah, a lot of winning going on around here right now. This is low-key been a heck of a nice run. Just if you're a sports fan in Middle Tennessee, it's been a nice run. Preds are rolling. Vols are rolling. If you're an NFL fan, Titans fan, I mean, it's combine season. You got to see big dudes and little dudes run.
Oh, yeah, they replayed it right now, the big guys. I went too much of the big guys run. I sure saw some fast guys rolling.
How about the guy from Texas?
Oh,
Fastest all time. 4.2 or 4.21. 4.21.
Xavier Worthy. I'll never forget Worthy. Xavier's my son's middle name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I wanted to name him that his first name, but I didn't win that.
I understand.
I mean, a lot of the receivers had really good workouts. I know Roma Dunze impressed, especially in the gauntlet. I think he had a perfect gauntlet. I know he impressed, especially with that 3-cone drill. He stayed over and tried to do it as many times as possible until he got his best because he kept hitting that second to last cone with his foot. A.D. Mitchell from Texas, I think, rose his stock. Just an athletic freak. I think he...
As I said when I saw him in high school.
Yeah.
He was an athletic freak. It was like, who in the heck is this guy? You should have saw him. He was catching the ball in the air. I'm like, who? How did I have not never heard of him? Because he had just transferred there, and I think he was only there his senior year. But I was so lucky that he played quarterback that game.
Your guy, Ricky Pearsall, had a really
I like
good.
Pearsall and my other guy, McConkey.
Yeah, they both had really good workouts.
Skyrocketing up there, I think so, because he's not only showed he could run good routes, but he showed he ran a 4.38.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's an explosive. He'll surprise you. This guy's explosive. I kind of watched his whole entire college career, and that's why I feel like I have a better knowledge of him. Pearsall was good, but there was a lot of really good receivers. Some DBs really ran super fast. Man, wow. And, as well as some receivers. But, man, it was some really, really talented, fast, athletic players. Man, they're just getting bigger and bigger. I saw another kid, was he from Wyoming, offensive lineman, run like a 5 flat. I couldn't believe it. I was seeing him. He was stroking. The guy with the blonde hair.
Frank Kroom is actually a 4.94 official.
4.94, under 5. Yeah, that was his. Yeah, what's his name again?
Frank Kroom.
Kroom, from Wyoming. Offensive lineman. What's his measurables? They got it up?
Let's see if I click on his
like what I saw out of him,
profile. He is 6'8", 313 pounds. And he ran a sub 5.
He was stroking, man.
Okay.
I tell you, I get fascinated with the dudes this way and over 300 pounds, and they up there running 5'9", 4'8", 5'1". You go, what? People have no idea that he'd go take him right out in this hallway and beat Bananas in the hallway right here. And that's because they boot, Bananas to the side, and he'd be in another hallway.
I go through the wall.
These dudes are moving, man. I'm like, dang.
Well, the guy from Texas run that weighs 366 pounds.
Oh, that D-tackle, that sweat guy or whatever.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That dude was fine for his size.
I was like, oh, Texas, no wonder they be Alabama. They have some talent, boy. Super duper talent. 2 wide receivers? Man, worthy. Look, I love me some Mitchell, but if I'm right there pulling the card, I'm thinking I'm taking Worthy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because of the speed. It's like when you watch him, remember I kept on saying he was the herky-jerky guy.
Yes.
And that's the guys that give you trouble with all the ins and outs and coming out of their breaks. But when he showed that vertical speed like that, oh, no, that's a serious problem. He has both, which as a DB is a distinction between fast and quick. He has both, and that is a recipe for a DB called disaster. But he's got some. Him. I guess last year was the kid from the Texans went to U of H. What's his name? Dale.
Tank. Yep.
And Zay Flowers were those two guys. They really had some herky jerky. You go, oh man. This right here is not normal. Their body is very fluid and loose. It's just like, oh, dang, I don't know how I'm going to card that.
Well, I love the combine. Just to see 6'9" people like Joe Alt who can outrun regular people and just things like that. This dude from Wyoming, Crum, that nobody's even talking. Just all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating, man. I watched
guys from all different places.
I watched way too much of it.
I think it was somebody from Division II that was flying too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow.
Jim Wyatt was flying back and forth to Indy, and he was there to cover all of it. So let's talk to Jimmy Wyatt next on Blaine and Mickey.
On the road again.
Always.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 24 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn in his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. I was telling Blaine, teacher.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We were talking about the Combine. Let's get on the Combine hotline, and talk to the road warrior himself, Jim Wyatt, who's been racking up frequent flyer miles. He was in Las Vegas. He was in Indianapolis. Jim, have you slept more than like 10 hours aggregate total in like the last 4 weeks?
I think total I have, but yeah, I have not gotten a lot of sleep. Been on the go a lot. My wife's getting a lot more sleep. People always ask me about it, her being upset that I'm gone, and she's got the whole king size bed to herself and doesn't hear me snoring in the middle of the night. So she's been racking up the sleep while I haven't been getting much while I've been gone.
A lot has happened since the last time we spoke. Obviously, the Combine happened. The stadium announcement happened. More stuff. But we also heard one more time from Rand and from Callahan. Just curious, hearing them speak at the Combine. Any takeaways or anything new that you learned about them or anything like that you felt like, I should probably write this down and write about it?
Well, I mean, from their media session there, I mean, I think what drew the most attention is them talking about, about the possibility of choosing between a tackle and a receiver, and I think they add a little bit of intrigue, talking about how if all things are equal, then they like guys that can score touchdowns. Now, again, a lot can happen between now and then. We've got free agency. You don't know what's happening early in the draft, so you don't know who's going to be there. But I think that led people to believe, that's maybe an offensive tackle is not a sure thing with that pick. So, I mean, that was, that was interesting there. Anything else that came out of it? I mean, I thought both of them did a good job answering questions without really giving a lot away. And I think they had to have been, impressed by what they saw. And I know there was a lot made about them coming back for the I guess the groundbreaking. But I think any talk about them missing out on interviews or stuff while they were back here, I think that was overblown. It's my understanding they met with all the tackle prospects. They met with 55 of the 60 prospects in Indy, so they got plenty of work done. As far as what else I learned, I wrote a story about Rand Carthon from there. I'd encourage people to read, just where he kind of gives a little bit of more background on just him kind of being now in a position of authority and being the decision maker, and talking about Amy Adams Strunk and her putting her trust in him. And he also got more into his relationship with Mike Vrabel and just how things ended. I know a lot of people made the relationship out to be a rocky one at the end, but Rand talked about how Vrabel congratulated him when Brian Callahan was hired. He's talked about his 16-year-old daughter's got Mike Vrabel's face on her screensaver because they have such a good relationship, and really just talked about how they ended on good terms, even though it wasn't a great situation. So I'd encourage people to read that as well, just to kind of quash some of the misconceptions that maybe have been lingering for the past month. For sure.
All that and more, Jim Wyatt writing at TennesseeTitans.com. That's where you can find it, or follow him on Twitter at jwyattsports.com.
Well, Jimbo, I'm going to talk a little bit about what you're talking about there, and that was, O-line or wide receiver with the first pick. I'm interested in more so what Coach Callahan, the dad, the O-line coach, I wonder what he thinks about the actual current situation of the offensive line, and then what his opinion would be about, some of the top prospects coming out, or even in the second round, and maybe he thinks, can be good enough and can coach up pretty quickly and be starting sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He hasn't been on record talking about his opinion of the returners. I
Right.
Can't imagine a group that gave up 64 sacks last year is probably, having him licking his chops. So obviously you can't judge everybody by that number. There were some good performances in there, and there's some players that will be back in the mix, and then there will be guys who will move on and play elsewhere next year. Maybe there's a guy or two in there that he feels like he can develop and get more out of them than what the prior coaching staff got out of them. I think that will be, one of those to be determined situations. I think if he looks at this year's class, I think he'd have to agree that it's a deep group of offensive linemen. I think there's guys at the top who are day one starters that you can plug and play and have them be guys that you can count on. I also think there's a school of thought that because you've got potentially the best offensive line coach in the league, maybe you don't have to take an offensive lineman early because you can get a guy later and maybe get more out of him. I don't know if I subscribe to that theory. I know that was the theory when Mike Munchak was here and he turned guys like Eugene Amano and Justin Hartwig and some other players that were down the line, turned them into consistent, durable, productive starters. I think it's a combination of two. Brian Callahan, that's one of the things he said. Yeah, coaching matters, but when you get good coaching with elite players, then you're really cooking with peanut oil, I guess, as those Duck Dynasty guys like to say. And I think that's what the Titans are trying to do.
Kind of give us a picture of what the atmosphere was like, because a lot of people talk about like at the combine, oh, it's all crazy, shuffling guys around, they're doing interviews and getting ready for the 40s and on field. Kind of talk about a little bit about what the combine really is, and if anything has really changed or stayed the same.
Well, it's definitely changed. I mean, I remember the combine back was in the old RCA Dome, and the crowd there from not only the media but maybe people who attended it wasn't anything like it is now. Now it's turned into a spectacle where you've got NFL experiences up there too. So you got some more fans involved, more media involved, more team officials are there. You've got it is a flurry of activity. You just walk through any hotel lobby there, or any restaurant in town, or really the hallways of the convention center, and it's just it's not like New York City, but it's certainly packed with NFL personnel, and you never know who you're going to run into. I walked with Brian Callahan a little bit on, I guess that was maybe Wednesday morning, and as I was walking with him, Jim Harbaugh came up to him, and they had a little chat, and then you keep on walking, and you'll see NFL coaches, GMs. So it's a flurry of activity. I think one thing, it's somewhat disappointing is there is so much hype up there. You got so many players that are looking to make a name for himself, but then you got other players who are pulling out of drills, not wanting to do things there, and then you got Marvin Harrison Jr. not even showing up for his media availability. So there's some good that goes with the increased hype and awareness on this event, and then there's some other parts of it that think, hey, if you don't want to take advantage of your opportunity, why don't you give somebody else a chance?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Did we ever get a conclusive answer of why Harrison Jr. didn't do the media part?
I don't. I was standing there waiting for him, and his name tag was on the podium, and then someone from the NFL walked up, took his name down, replaced it with the person who was scheduled to speak after him, and they said they didn't have any additional information. I know he was there. I saw him. I saw him in the Westin.
He was there.
I saw his father in the Westin on during the course of the week as well. So he was there. I don't think he was there the whole week, but he just didn't do it, and that hasn't happened a whole lot.
There you have it, Jim Wyatt from Tennessee Titans Online.
So it's kind of funny. Yeah, I posted that he wasn't speaking, and I think the comments were pretty funny. Everybody would say, "Well, there's no way you can pick this guy in the top 6."
Yes.
Media availability. So people are having a little bit of fun with. I mean, he's still going high. He's still a great prospect. His dad, I don't know, was the most media friendly. I mean, I don't want to say he wasn't the most media friendly, but some guys embrace that more than others. And, so that's not going to determine whether he's going to be a great player. I still think he's going to be a great player. I don't think he's a diva. I just think, for some reason he decided he didn't want to do it.
Well, Jim, anytime we call, we appreciate that you will always do it here. So who had... Of all the things that happened, you had the 4.21.40, you had all these amazing workouts. Was there somebody who you left there thinking, that guy had the best day, he had the best run, he had the best week of anybody at the Combine?
Not really, and I sometimes am hesitant to kind of gush over somebody that's run well. Like Xavier Worthy did run a 4.21. That was outstanding. I think Adonai Mitchell from Texas, the 4.35, impressive. Jalen Wright, the University of Tennessee running back, that ran a 4.38 and did well in the drills. He was good, and there were some good times across the board, guys that helped their stock. But I always think back, and you look at the list. I think when Worthy ran the 4.21, and you list all the other players with the top times on there, Chris Johnson was a 4.24, and he had a heck of a career. John Ross, what was he, 4.22?
Yep.
He didn't do much. He was a disappointment, and so I don't think you can put too much stock. Yeah, it helps you to run fast, and it helps you to do the drills well, but ultimately it comes down to your college tape. That's what I always say. And, there's been some guys who have gone up there and tested well and looked great and got picked earlier than they should have. Chris Henry is one of those guys here. Somebody's asking, we were talking about him. I was just talking about somebody about him earlier today. Chris Henry tested well, looks like an athletic freak, and he got up drafted, I think, in the second round because of that.
Yeah.
But he didn't have much of an NFL career. So I think what you do in Indy and what you're going to do at some of these pro days should help your stock, but I always say it comes down to the tape, and that's what matters most.
Yeah, my son came home from school recently all excited. He said, Dad, I got a Titans football card that I traded for today. I said, who is it? He said, guy named Chris Henry. Do you remember him? I said,
yeah. Well,
yes, I do, son. I do remember him.
Yeah, well, there's a Chris Johnson and there's a Derrick Henry. A combination of those two names certainly you can use both of those in Chris Henry's name and come up with a spectacular Titan. He just didn't have a career. He was a great kid.
Yeah.
I remember what a nice young man he was, and he came in with high expectations. That's what happens when you get picked second, but I just don't think he was probably worthy of that pick.
Speaking of expectations, I always love the tour of the mock drafts. I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Bissett, who was the lone picker of all the people you've surveyed to say the Titans would take a defensive player in the first round. He said it would be Dallas Turner. So shout out to that guy for being different.
Yeah, and all these are going to look different. Let's face it. I shouldn't say all of them, but these things look a lot different in February and early March than they do in April, because free agency is going to change things, not just in Nashville, but across the league. So teams right now, people are just throwing darts and doing it based on needs of teams. And once free agency starts and these needs change, then these mock drafts are going to change. So, we'll see how it ends up. I'm not so sure I could sit here and tell you that the Titans are going to do so much in free agency that defensive player could turn into the team's biggest need. I think they got too many needs on offense to say that, but I will say all of it right now is just for fun.
Oh, for sure. Always fun. Always fun talking to Jim Wyatt at J Wyatt Sports, TennesseeTitans.com.
Well, Jimbo, you got the freaking flyer miles, so I'm trying to figure out from the combine, or I guess from the Senior Bowl to the combine, watching all the different guys, who's kind of stood out that's kind of gotten better maybe a little bit, helped their stock, and maybe somebody who's kind of, they stayed the same or maybe went down a little bit?
Hard to say, because a lot of guys, to be honest with you, that were at the Senior Bowl, maybe, or some of the guys at the combine weren't at the Senior Bowl, a whole lot of them. Again, I think the guys that run the fastest are the ones that probably help their stock the most. But there's so many guys that just didn't run or didn't throw or didn't really showcase themselves in Indy like they're going to at their pro days. As far as me, I love sitting there listening to Ola Fashanu, the offensive tackle from Penn State. His stock went up in my mind because the guy's a great talker and and such a nice kid. And Joe Alt's kind of the same way. It was cool for me to sit back and listen to those guys. I listened to all the receivers, and Keon Coleman, the receiver from Florida State, such an entertaining guy. Listen to Neighbors, listen to Rome Odunze. It was neat for me to kind of see their personalities and just think of what they'd be like in the locker room here. And there were some guys that I certainly became favorites of mine, but I don't get a pick, and they're not doing it based on how well they're going to be on Mickey and Blaine show or how they're going to be in the group of reporters. They got to be good football players. And I think some of those questions over the next 6 weeks when we have these pro days and these in-house visits, that's when you'll start to see guys really change some minds.
Did you hear any crazy questions, or did you ask one? And maybe what were some of the funnier answers to some of those, if you got one?
Yeah, I mean, I did hear some crazy questions. I mean, it's at the Super Bowl, that Super Bowl Monday night is when you really get kind of the off the wall questions and people trying to get more attention with the question than they are with the answer. That has now kind of found its way to India a little bit. There was one guy, and I don't know who he is, but he kept going around asking players if they think birds are real or if they think planes are real. And I'm going to mention Keon Coleman again because he was kind of funny when the guy asked him about birds are real. He goes, "What do you mean?" He asked him first if planes are real. He goes, "What do you mean planes are real?" The guy said, "Well, how do they fly?" He goes, "Well, it's like a big car. You got controls on it. And it's got wings." And then he asked him if birds were real, and then he kind of stammered. I don't think he could believe this guy was even asking him these questions. And then the guy said, "Well, have you ever seen a baby pigeon?" And he said, "No, I don't think I have seen a baby pigeon." So, I mean, it's just, I mean, it was comical stuff. Some of those media sessions, to be honest with you, get off the rail a little bit because the guy will step up there and the first question will be, "Well, have you talked to the Seahawks?" And the next guy, "Well, have you talked to the Texans? Have you talked to the Raiders? Have you talked to the Steelers?" So it turns into who have you talked to, just to try to get a nugget out of them. And the reality is, any of these guys are good players, they've talked to everybody in this process. I don't care whether it's at their college workout, it's at their Senior Bowl, it's at the Combine. All these players get talked to of every team, so you just can't read into too much. And sometimes the team won't talk to a guy, and they'll end up picking them. So a lot of wasted time on those media sessions as well.
Jimbo, great stuff, man. New mailbag. I read through that earlier today. You got the article with Rand Carthon, tons of stuff at TennesseeTitans.com that people need to be reading, and we're about to get into free agency. We know you'll be on top of that and everything else, man. We appreciate you.
Appreciate Jimbo.
Okay, y'all have a great day.
Yes, sir.
Hold on to that Chris Henry card, and you never know. May be worth a lot of money one day.
I will let him know he got that advice from Jimmy White. He'll be excited to hear that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
All right, Jim Wyatt. All right, we come back. How did the UT guys do at the Combine? He mentioned Jalen Wright. Let's just say that he made himself some money. Also, the phones are ringing, 615-737-1045. More calls, too.
That right.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. We got fun and games. Jalen Wright had fun and games at the Combine. 4.3840. His vert was 38 inches. His broad jump was 11-2. 11-2. That's, yes.
That's
11 and 2. 2 inches.
There, boy.
Best broad jump by a running back since 2003. Jalen Wright.
I think mine was 10-2.
That's crazy, man. 11-2. It was like a foot more than anybody this year.
It was tied for the second highest broad jump by running back of all
That
in
is
the combine.
explosive,
In the
man.
combine of all
History,
time.
yes. He was the second fastest running back this year
At the fourth, what is he? 4.38.
at 4.38. And he went from like a 4.42 to a 4.38. He
Well,
went down the second time,
yeah,
which hardly
well,
anybody does.
It was a 4.44. He ran his first round.
Okay.
And he came back with that 4.38. And if you watch that video of him running, he was moving. He was moving.
People saying he may be the first running back taken in the draft now, and everybody's saying none in the first, maybe at the end of the
Somebody
second.
from Texas again.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's hurt.
Yeah. So I
Jonathan Brooks.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. I was like, I don't know, man. He may be the number one running back. If they don't know, then now they know because we watched a lot of them.
Well,
He came on like gangbusters. There was no doubt that he was going to be the starter.
so he's, as my son might have said, he's going to get taked probably in the third round now. So the Titans are unavailable there.
Oh,
They don't have a third
he
round. pick.
may get to that second round, man. 4.38.
Yeah,
man.
that's
And then
flying.
See how big? What is he? 210, 215?
210. 5'10" and a
Yeah,
half.
he was
210.
golly. That's like the perfect size
Yeah,
too.
running back.
If you look at history of running backs, Joe Milton, of course, he threw it a mile. I thought his intermediate throws were good.
Mhm.
That's the best
I didn't see him. I saw him throw the one where he click, like
Yes.
bang, and then it dropped.
did
was
that.
Pretty sweet right there.
But he threw like out routes and he threw corner route in the end zone. They do that drill.
Mhm.
I kept thinking he's going to throw it 8 feet over this guy. Nope, he threw it right to him. I was nervous for him because I like Joe Milton. I was nervous. I thought he's about to throw
Is that how
it.
you felt too, Joe?
So I knew he was going to impress in the deep throws, and he was the most impressive quarterback in the deep throws. But like Mickey said, I don't know how he was going to do in those intermediate
you were
and
knuckle
touch
biting.
throws, and he did well. I mean, he hit guys in the chest, he hit them in stride. He was.
I was worried he
accurate.
was going to like throw one 12 feet over a guy's head, then the next one like decapitate a guy. He just threw it to people where it was supposed to be.
Well, that was the problem at Tennessee is he never had feel for the strength and the speed at which he threw the ball. It was always either way too fast or way too high. He was throwing normally. He was throwing like a quarterback. Like he was hitting guys in the right speed.
Now, what does that mean for him? I don't know.
I mean, it was nobody was guarding. It was on air. They weren't wearing pads. You know, he had nobody running.
So he
after
looked just like
him.
the other quarterback.
Yes, he didn't stand out in a bad way.
Yes, he didn't make any
Did he stand out in a good way?
on the deep throws. Yes.
On the deep throws, yes.
He did.
Oh, gosh. He threw it a mile without even it. The announcers were like, he's not even trying.
I saw the highlight with the one he said click, click. And I was like, it looked like he didn't even hardly throw the ball.
And that was
And that thing
70s.
Flick of the
off.
wrist.
Yeah.
And he was what,
Flick of the wrist.
73.
Yeah.
Was that what it ended up being?
We all
air
knew
yards?
he would do that. Somebody predicted that he'd throw it 80 yards at the combine, which he didn't. I mean, he could have.
Well, on the one that's 73, he waited for the wide receiver to go a little bit.
Yes.
So he had two deep throws that he connected on perfectly in stride. He had one that he overthrew. But on like the first one, he kind of threw it normally. I think it was in the 60s in air yards. And then on the second one, you could see he had the ball, and then he waited just a little bit more, just so that wide receiver could get a little bit further downfield, and then he just unleashed it. Just all arm. I mean, if that guy learned to use his legs consistently, he could probably throw it 80, 90 yards.
And he ran and turned a flip at the end of the drills. And
Oh,
then
did he?
Yes. You know how they all run to one end zone? They always
But that
did.
was him who did the flip?
He was one of them. Two guys did a flip in his group.
Oh.
And the announcers, Daniel Jeremiah, was like, wait a second, did Joe Milton just flip?
I
And
mean,
they-
he's an athletic
Yeah, because I
freak.
thought he did
It's-
it at practice one time.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Or was it a game?
he would do flips and pads. Like, he would have all his pads on doing flips. I mean,
Yeah, I wasn't doing no flips and pads.
This dude. But he's going to go probably, if his pro day goes anything like this, he'll probably go a whole round or something sooner maybe than he should have if he's this consistent with his throws. Like I said, I was nervous because we've seen what he does in games. I mean, I don't have any skin.
I'm scared of the game. You're nervous for him.
I was nervous for him, and I'm not. I didn't graduate from Tennessee. I covered the team.
I can't imagine.
I'm like,
if you
come
were
on,
like
man.
Joe Milton's cousin.
Oh, I probably would have thrown up in a trash can. But I was just so happy for him.
You're sweating bullets for him.
I'm sweating right now thinking about it. I was just happy for him, you know?
I can't think of
I'm
another.
just happy for him.
I can't think of another quarterback that like just stood out at the combine. I don't think there was one. Like they were all just kind of like.
Everybody was
McCarthy,
okay.
they were all
And then
okay.
the big dogs didn't work out.
I know Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
His deep balls were not deep. They were underthrown a lot.
Balls weren't deep enough on those deep throws.
Michael Penix, we were talking last week about that weird motion that he has. He was overthrowing some guys. His balls were like his deep balls. They were like real flat.
Oh, yeah, I saw him throw some outs though. He looked pretty comfortable throwing the ball. He looked. I'm gonna say this. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about he looked like a natural thrower.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was born to do. It's just weird when I watch him. So I was interested to see how he looked here because sometimes you have to rely on timing and everything else on routes, so you're not working with the receivers. So how would that look?
Joe Milton also had they did that drill where all the quarterbacks throw the ball at the wall as hard as they can to see how fast they could. I think Joe Milton had the highest. I think he had like 63 miles per hour. Guess who was number 2? J.J. McCarthy, 62 miles an hour.
I thought he was fine. I thought he was fine. The big guys not working out gave all these guys a chance for them to duke it out over, who's the next guy on the list.
Well, how would you rank that second group? Penix, McCarthy, Milton, Nix. Am I forgetting somebody?
Would you put McCarthy in the second group?
Yeah, I put him in second.
I'd put him in the second group. And Milton's probably in the third group, whatever that is.
Well, who did the best amongst those?
Ooh. Why don't we pick this up on the other side? Let's do that. We'll take phone calls, too. Your combine thoughts. We'll continue to give ours on the other side. It is Blaine and Mickey, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, when trust matters. Trust us for Hour 2 coming up next. Ding Dong of the Week.
Hey, Tennessee, it's Blaine Bishop here. With the unpredictable weather hitting us hard, it's crucial you ensure your home is equipped for any challenge. So don't the next poor power outage catch you off guard. Cool Ray's Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical has your back. And they're offering an incredible $1,500 off select at-home generators. Yes, you heard it right. $1,500 off. So don't gamble with your family's safety and act now. Secure your peace of mind with Cool Ray. And if that's not enticing enough, take advantage of the $49 tune-up for your HVAC system. It's perfect for ensuring your home stays comfortable in any weather. And if you've been thinking about upgrading to a new HVAC system, they're offering free estimates on replacements. And their expert comfort consultants are ready to guide you toward the perfect solution for your home. So Cool Ray, keeping Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and lights bright. So just visit coolray.com and take control of your home's comfort and safety. That's coolray.com.
It is 2:01. Good afternoon. I'm Joseph Bonanno. In NFL news today, 13-year NFL veteran center Jason Kelce held a press conference where he announced his retirement from the NFL. Kelce had 193 starts, 6 first-team All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls, and a Super Bowl ring in his career with Philadelphia. Also, the Tampa Bay Bucks and wide receiver Mike Evans have agreed to a 2-year, $52 million contract that includes $35 million in guaranteed money, according to his agent. Evans has gone over 1,000 receiving yards for the Bucks every year of his career since coming into the league in 2014. Another free agent target is expected to hit the market as Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported that the Panthers will look to either trade or release cornerback Dante Jackson before his $4 million roster bonus hits on March 16th. The move would free up $5.9 million in cap space. Jackson is just 28 years old and would be a high priority candidate on the free agent market. On Sunday morning, the family of longtime ESPN NFL reporter Chris Mortensen announced he passed away at the age of 72. The award-winning reporter had been battling cancer since 2016. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wait to Mickey 1045 The Zone. Combine is in the books. The NFL Combine is over. Curious how Titans fans are feeling. 615-737-1045. Do you still want to tackle first? Is the depth good enough to take a wide receiver first and a tackle in the second, or vice versa? Do you feel like, oh, no, man, if Alt is there or Fashanu, then you take those rascals and then you try to take a receiver in the second round because, oh, my gosh, the receiver showed out this weekend. Do you feel okay trading back even?
Ooh, if I could pick up a third-round pick.
Did you see enough that you thought?
Oh, talking about enough receivers in the second round?
Oh,
enough tackles?
I am.
Yeah.
I think I can confidently say I would be okay with the Titans trading back to anywhere from 12 to 15 range.
Okay.
And them still able to get one of those receivers there and then pick up a third-round pick. And then I think your offensive tackle class is still big enough where you could address that in the second round.
Ooh, watch this. That make it happen. Who has 11, 12, and 13 picks? I think they all need quarterbacks.
So I know the
14.
Vikings are at 11, I believe.
I think the Raiders are one of the teams.
I think the Raiders might be at 13.
They need a quarterback to a certain extent, right? O'Connell's their guy from Purdue.
Vikings are 11, Broncos are 12, Raiders are 13.
Oh, see, 11, 12, and 13. Oh, yeah, Broncos. What they going to do with Russell Wilson? We know they're going to let him go, right?
Yes, sir.
Be a trade or release. So, yeah, that's that could happen. That could very well happen. Titans trade back, get a second-round pick, and then get the first pick, and yeah.
So if you trade back, do you target a wide receiver?
This depends on how the draft goes. To me,
if Fashanu dropped and you still wanted to tackle, which, by the way, he said his name. Jimmy Wyatt asked him, and he said the whole first name. I'm not going to go there. He said it's easy. That dude was so funny, so engaging. This huge funny guy, and he's like, just people call me Ola because that's easy. But he said they always get my last name wrong, but it's Fashanu.
Oh, Fashanu.
Fashanu. See, we nailed that.
Fashanu.
So Titans are 7th. Atlanta is 8th. There's a lot of talk that the Falcons will need a quarterback, obviously, unless they solve it with Kirk Cousins or trade for Fields. So if you want a quarterback, depending on what happens in free agency, you might have to get ahead of Atlanta. So that gives Tennessee a chance to trade back. So what we were talking about last week. So Atlanta's 8. Chicago is 9. The Jets are 10. Vikings 11. Like you said, what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? Denver is 12. What are they going to do? Surely no way Danger Russ Wilson is back there. Raiders are 13.
And if someone said, if you go look at, man, I hadn't even looked at it, and I still haven't looked at it because I just don't want to get pissed off. Russell Wilson actually had a good year if you look at his numbers.
Oh, they had like a,
like,
5-game winning streak or something at one point.
Yeah, they act like he really didn't play that bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, come
So
on.
when they benched him, I'm pretty sure that kept him from hitting some
Right, incentives that he
It
had
was
to
all
do.
contract related.
But what was
Yeah.
his actual numbers though? Like, what was his? Like, they act like he just played horrible. I didn't even
It
look at
was
his numbers.
one of the better years he's had lately.
Well, naturally, it was better than the year before. But what about his last year? Like with the last 2 years with the Seahawks, comparable.
So
Even though he got
his
benched.
year this year, he had a 66.4 completion percentage, 3,070 yards, 26 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions with a 98 QB rating.
So does that sound bad to you?
No, I'm.
See, that's what I'm
wasn't thinking
saying.
that.
That's
When they said that, I was like, what?
That's his highest completion percentage in years, too.
Right. And so there was like, I think he's getting a bad rap. I don't think it was as bad as people thought. You need to go back and watch the film. It'll match up with his numbers, and that maybe he made a critical bad throw here or there in a game that maybe it cost him or got him out of games. But he said it actually played much better than the year before. It wasn't like horrible like everybody's, I'm thinking, man, he's done.
Well, his contract, remember
That's why I like always going back and watch it.
do your own research,
Yeah,
right?
do your own research, man, because, we got people on national TV the ones saying this now that, he's no longer a Hall of Fame player. He's washed. Then the other people come on and say, no, this guy played really well last year. You need to go back and watch the tape. Well, uh-oh.
His dead cap this year.
Oh, it's got to be something crazy because they guaranteed him like 30-something million, right, this year? The next 2 years, 35 and 37 or some crazy number they're guaranteeing him. So he can literally play for another team for a league minimum of $1 million. As long as I want to guarantee that I'm starting. That's all I would be caring about. I'm going to still make 36, 7.
His yearly cash for 2024 is $39 million. Next year it's 37. The next year it's 40. The next year it's 45.
But the next 2 years, though, are guaranteed, though. I think that's the deal, only the next 2 years.
His dead cap this year is $85 million. Now, they have to designate him as a June 1st cut is the only way you could even partly swallow this, and that would make it 35.4, and the next year 49.6.
Because they still got to pay him, yeah. His numbers weren't all that bad.
I will say this. You know the people that own the Broncos, right, are part of the Walton family.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about one day how much money they make every 10 seconds. It's just insane.
Well, last year was their first year in ownership.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm.
So, this is their toy that they play with, this NFL team.
What if they kept Russell Wilson? In a shocker. Didn't look like Sean Payton was thinking about nothing about keeping nobody.
I don't know if you can do that after what they've done to him over these last year or so.
What do you mean they done to him?
Or whatever the coaching staff, Payton,
has done
whatever whoever in the Broncos organization has played around with him like he was nothing. I mean, benching him, putting him back in.
That was Sean Payton. That's who it was.
I mean, if I'm Russell Wilson, I don't want to play for them. Not after how they treated you.
Yeah, I always put the athletes on there like, y'all got to apologize. You got to be the better human being. Right. That's who Russell Wilson is. He would go back and wouldn't have any problem with it. I guarantee it, man.
He just wants to play football.
I got 39 million reasons to
No matter
show up this year if I'm him.
Because that's what I think Sean Payton played his cards bad here.
Oh, yeah.
Because he really devalued Russell. In the meantime, he should have been trying to, knowing he wanted to trade him, elevate him. Like, ought to talk about him or around it. He made it about himself, and boy, they're going to have to cut him loose, and they're not going to get anything.
Sure can't trade him. So you're going to have to cut him or start him. It's a two-way street. What'll be really interesting is if they say, okay, he's going to be a June 1st designation, we're going to cut him. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Right.
But who picks him up? A smart team is like, oh, okay, let's pick him up. I mean, do the Falcons call immediately?
Mm.
I think it all might depend where. I think Kirk Cousins will be the first domino for all this because right now you've seen Kirk Cousins to Atlanta, you've seen him back to Minnesota. Those are kind of the two designations for him. And then once that happens, then you got to go look over Chicago. What are they going to do with Justin Fields? Because remember, their GM said that if they were going to select a quarterback and with the first overall pick, that they would, out of obligation to Justin Fields, trade him before free agency started and get him in his new situation.
Would you rather have Russ or Fields if you're the Falcons? If Kirk Cousins stays put, you want Russ or you want Fields?
I think I would say Russell right now, just as a player. Now, contract-wise, you'd probably want Justin Fields.
Well, you're not trading for him, though. It'll be a new contract.
So
and you also have to pay Justin Fields if you trade for him. Remember, we discussed this. Like, as soon as you trade for him, he's got to get his next contract.
I would probably say Russell Wilson. More experience, better track record so far. Yeah, he's older, but he proved he can still play. I mean, he had a good year last year, not great year.
And
but
Craig in the chat
year.
says, come on, Wilson was a problem too. It wasn't all just Peyton. Let's keep it real here, guys. We'll keep it real. I mean, he wasn't perfect. And
I know, but I was just saying I thought he was done.
the way he was talked about.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And he and Peyton, it's a clash. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Well, it all started when, because remember all the stuff about Russell Wilson having his own office and you had to talk to somebody in order to talk to him. And I don't know how much of that was true and how much of it was kind of rumors, but that clearly didn't sit well with Peyton when he got there. And he just treated Russell like, hey, you're not my guy. I took this job, but I didn't really want you here, even though you were here before me.
Let's pick this up on the other side. More Combine talk. We got Chuck on the phone that wants to talk. We got Jason on the phone. Chuck, Jason, hold. We will come straight to you when we come back. 615-737-1045. We'll get you on Blaine and Mickey on this Monday. We got the Combine going up now. We're about to watch Xavier Worthy run his 4.21. That's about to happen. You want to react to any of that stuff? Anybody that's your must-have for the Titans now after what you saw at the Combine? Who are you thinking? My must-have, I felt like he really solidified himself, old Roma Dunze. But what do you think? 615-737-1045. That'll get you on Blaine and Mickey.
Life is busy. We could all use some extra time in our day, which is exactly why Two Rivers Ford offers mobile service. We'll bring the service to your driveway at no additional charge. Oil changes, brakes, batteries, the certified technicians at Two Rivers will perform basic maintenance on your vehicle wherever you are, so you'll have more time for moments like this. Schedule your mobile service appointment by scanning the QR code or calling Two Rivers Ford today.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Let's take some phone calls. We got the Combine replay on TV. Got a poll question up at Blaine and Mickey right now as well. Basically, now that the Combine is over, do you have a must-have player for the Titans? It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody around one. It could be some linebacker or something you like later in the draft. I mean, it could be Jaden Wright for that matter. I mean,
it could be. Oh, man, that was impressive. I wouldn't mind him seeing him in a Titan uniform. Actually, I think it would fit perfectly.
I think they need to find their way into the third round. After watching it, I think they're, because of how deep this wide receiver class is, and what they need, I think they need to find their way into the third round. Whether that's they trade back a couple picks, and maybe not draft Alt or Fashanu in round one. I think they need to find their way into the third round. I think that's probably the most beneficial thing for the Titans.
So if you move back, what are you taking with your first pick?
I would lean wide receiver, but I wouldn't mind going defense like we talked about last week, because there's some really good defensive. And I know you guys were talking about him during the break. The dude from Toledo, Mitchell, the cornerback, he's being projected in that 11 to 15 range. I wouldn't mind if we trade back, I wouldn't mind drafting him 13, 12.
Yeah, he ran really well, too.
Yeah.
And going wide receiver and offensive tackle in second and third. So
as we said,
in that order?
If you draft him or a cornerback in the first or a defensive player in the first, then you go OT second, wide receiver third.
And they desperately need two starting cornerbacks. So it's not like it's not a position of need. We need to get to the phone, so let's do it. Jason in the Borough has been waiting patiently. Jason, we appreciate you calling Blaine and Mickey.
Hey, guys. I know it's my second time calling today, but I was want to ask you guys, I didn't hear anything about, I know y'all said Jalen Wright, but I didn't hear anything about Jabari Small. And also my second question was, I know post COVID, but this is like the fourth year or so, I guess, with the COVID, how the kids or the college kids are reacting still with being in school with the COVID, how if anything's changed or if it's almost back to normal now.
I would say, knowing everybody that I know, they are very much in keep things as normal as possible mode and got that way as quickly as they could.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, the COVID years kind of opened up the window just for doing multiple interviews if somebody had to, take a flyer and couldn't be there at the exact time or anything else, just like the Titans had to be back here for the, ceremony here for the stadium. So, yeah, I don't think that's changed very much. What was his other question?
He asked about Jabari Small.
Oh, he's not at the
he wasn't at the
No,
combine.
he wasn't invited.
He is coming out, though, correct?
Yes, he will be in the draft. If he does get drafted, which probably not looking likely, it'll be like sixth, late seventh round.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be day 3 definitely. Jalen Wright is definitely the guy to look at for Tennessee running backs.
If you just want to look at from the start of the season to right now and say a guy made himself some money and improved his stock, it's Jalen Wright.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that dude.
Well, the coaches were talking about him because I think he had an injury last year.
Which one?
Jalen Wright.
Jalen.
Not this past season, but before that.
Before that, yes.
Yeah, because he
it was
wasn't playing as much. I think it was a shoulder
I know
injury.
Jabari also had a shoulder injury,
Right,
and I
he
think
did.
Jalen Wright had an upper body injury as well.
Yeah, so once he got it, the coaches was like, nah, he's going to be the number one dude. They were pretty sure of that. All he had to do was stay healthy.
Y'all want to hear some news before we continue this conversation?
Breaking news?
Kind of breaking news.
Whoa.
The Dolphins are not going to franchise defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, and that means he will become a free agent. I think he becomes one of the top free agents on the defensive side of the ball on the market this offseason.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, for sure. Fortunately, I don't know if we would be in that mix.
They got money to spend. We'll see where they want to spend it.
Oh, man.
One of those accounts out there, we were talking about him, the Bears wide receiver earlier,
Mooney.
Darnell Mooney, saw one of those mini accounts that like is NFL rumors type thing, and they had the Titans kicking the tires on
Did they?
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like me some Mooney. I think he's underrated. Good, solid young player.
I had a 1,000-yard season a couple years ago.
Yeah, he got nicked up. These receivers, man, I'm not used to receivers getting hurt.
Let's jump back to the
Come
phones.
on.
Chuck in
That's what
Clarksville.
Bananas would play.
Chuck, figure
Wide
out this
receiver.
draft
Hey.
thing for the Titans. What do you got?
All right, guys. I got 2 scenarios. First
Okay.
one, you stay at 7. You take Brock Bowers. You got a tight end and a wide receiver. He's the best I've seen at that kind of position since Shannon Sharp. My second scenario is trade back with the Giants and take Shanu or a tackle if he's there. If not, then take the best available player there and trade and get a 3rd-round pick and get Wan'Dale Robinson in the trade. That's a security blanket for Will Levis, kind of like Chase was for Burrow. He's not as good as Chase, but him and Levis have a great connection, and I think it would be a great security blanket for him. So I would trade back with the Giants and get a 3rd and Wan'Dale Robinson. I think the best.
Trade back with the Giants. The Giants actually have the 6th pick.
I thought they had the 12th. No.
No,
they
the
have the
Giants are
6th.
ahead of Tennessee.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then I thought they don't have.
Maybe he
another
meant to. I don't know who he meant because the Giants have pick 6, and they don't have another 1st-round pick.
one. They don't.
Because I kept thinking, wait a second, I know the Giants have 1 pick; it's ahead of the Titans. So I think if the Titans had lost the last game, they would have maybe moved ahead of the
Okay, they were
Giants.
5-11.
Yeah, because people were upset that they won that last game, so they could have been ahead of the Giants. So I don't know. We went through this a little bit earlier. Atlanta has pick 8, Chicago pick 9, the Jets are 10. Maybe he meant the Jets. Minnesota 11, Denver 12, Las Vegas 13, New Orleans 14.
And when he kept talking about trade Rondell Robinson, is he still in the league?
Yeah, he's still in the Giants.
He's still in
I
the
believe
Giants?
so.
Or did he get injured? No. Talking about the slot, right?
Yeah, man, he just has kind of
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't think I'll be trading for him. I've done enough.
It has not gone in the NFL like maybe a
Yep.
lot of people had hoped for
He is
him.
still active on the Giants. He's got 2 years of experience, and he's 23 years old.
Did have
Because
six,
the Raiders drafted him, wasn't it?
Mm,
No? Dang, I thought.
he was drafted by the Giants in the second round of 2022.
Oh, didn't he tore his ACL in training camp or something? Why is that?
he played 6 games his first year.
Yeah.
Last year he played 15, and he had 60 catches, but for 525 yards. So he averaged 8.8 yards a catch. 5'8", 185. Again, he was, oh my gosh, he was fun to watch in college.
Oh, he was great. What did he do 2 years ago when they came here against the Titans? I don't remember him being out there at all because with the kid from MTSU, the
Richie James.
Richard James, yeah, he was there. Yeah, man.
He had 1 reception for 5 yards against the Titans in 2022. That would have been the first game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was one for 5. Then he was inactive for a month. Then he played about a month, 6 weeks. Then he did not play weeks 11 through 17.
Where's Tony on that list? The other wide receiver. At that time, he was still there, correct?
He was
He just got traded to Kansas City.
Yeah, he got traded to Kansas City in the middle of the 2022 season
okay.
Oh,
because Tony has
That's
2
that
Super
same
Bowls.
year.
He has 2 Super Bowls. So he was with
You
the
remember
Giants
there
to
was a
start
story
that
where
year.
he said he called him and said, "Bring me back," and then people said, "Well, that's tampering." He was like, "Oh, I just wished it," or whatever he said. He said,
oh my! Did he catch a pass in this game, or was he on the roster against the Titans 2 years ago? He wasn't there, was he? It was the first game though.
"Yeah, I'm looking.
Maybe he was injured. He was injured too.
I'm about to get it for you right here."
Well, 1 for 5 ain't cutting it for me with Robinson.
Against Tennessee, he was 0 for 0. He ran the ball twice. He played 7 offensive snaps in the game. Kadarius Toney. He had 2
Okay.
He had 2 carries and no catches. He was 2 for 23
I remember.
on 7 snaps, and that was it.
Okay.
And the next week he played 28 snaps, and then he was inactive for 5 weeks. Man, what are they doing there? He was inactive, and so was Wandale Robinson.
Yeah, that's where small receivers go to die.
Boy.
Like, remember, I kept on waiting. I was watching because Tony had some stop and start, man, like no one's tomorrow. You just need to make sure you look at the ball. Keep it all the way
Oh,
to
we
his
got
body.
spoiled watching him in Florida. I mean,
my.
every week it was insane.
He was something delightful there to watch.
All right, so we've been talking about the Tennessee Titans and what they could do in that first round. So this from The Athletic about an hour ago, a little less than an hour ago. The Raiders have been exploring trading up into the first round, looking for a top 7 pick.
What do you know?
And they're at 13 right now. Well, what do you know? Tennessee Titans
Oh, man.
have a top 7 pick.
They go from 13 to 7. If I'm going to 13, I want more than a 3. Suddenly I'm Sonny Weaver Jr. on draft day, and I'm start making some demands.
I want a 2 and a 3. Can you get that much?
I don't know if you get a 2 and a 3. But I saw like one trade was them go from 7 to 9, and it was just straight up for a 3rd round pick. But now you're talking 10, 11, 12. I mean, 4 more 6? 3 and a 6? They have 3 7s, I think, but 1 6.
Now, here's where the stipulation with that comes, according to this article on Bleacher Report, is that they're waiting on the Justin Fields saga and see where that goes in order to whether or not they explore that possibility or not. So they are interested in Fields, but they are also interested in a trade up if Fields is not available.
I don't know.
This may go all the way up to the actual draft day for Fields. Oh, man, this is going to be a nightmare for him.
I kind of like Fields. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like him. I mean, I kind of like him.
You're still watching this Days of College, right?
Yes.
But
I got you.
But I kind of like him.
What did I tell you you guys a few weeks ago? I would be fine with Chicago trading away number 1 and getting a lot of draft capital,
Yeah.
keeping Fields and just building around him. And I get that, he hasn't produced. You have a new coaching staff and a new front office, and they want to get their guy. But with all the drama that has come with Caleb Williams, not saying Caleb Williams is going to be a bad player, but with all the drama that's come with him and the headache that could potentially be, you got a guy that at least you know somewhat of what he is. Maybe not fully, but it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be very drama filled. I feel like for him wherever he goes and however this plays out.
The Morning Glory show says on the F&M Bank chat, a first, a third, and Robert Spillane. Done deal. Talking about trade with the Raiders. Hey, they had Spillane and pooped that away. Hey, man.
I don't think they're going to be trading for Spillane, but that would be a nice, interesting caveat to
They need a linebacker.
They do.
Freaking Spillane, man. I mean, they had that guy.
He was a solid player. I thought he was a good quality backup. That's about as far as spot duty starter for sure. But
he started 17 games for the Raiders.
He did. I watched him. I saw one game where he had a pick. I was like, oh my God.
He had 3. He had 3 picks. Blaine, Spillane had 148 tackles last year and 3 picks.
Yeah, I think we're on to something.
4 pass breakups, a forced fumble, fumble recovery.
He got a lot more playing time, too, with the Steelers, didn't he? Didn't he go to the Steelers after the Titans?
Pittsburgh after the Titans. And he was a spot player for the Steelers.
Yeah, he played a lot because I saw him out there, yeah.
Oh, no, man. The Raiders are like, we're going to get behind Robert Spillane. Let's get behind Tony the Stud, who's up next. 615-737-1045. Hey, Tony.
Mickey.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good.
Doing good, Blaine?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Man, I think the Titans need to do something a little bit more different with the way that they build around this new set. Obviously, you guys know I'm on Fashanu. I don't think anybody that's listened to me on y'all's show or anybody else is here. I don't think the Titans need to give that pick up. They need to go straight after a left tackle, and if they do anything else, I quit.
We've heard that. We remember. Yeah. That rings a bell to me.
Look, man, Derrick Henry's not getting top dollar contract. Like, I think are we all in agreement? He's not in his prime anymore. I mean, obviously, I think he's still a fantastic running back and would be a great asset for all 32 teams in the league, no matter where he went. He's going to give people problems when he's in the lineup. People are going to jam that box. I think with the new coaching staff that's been put in place, and it sounds like they really want to go and get some receivers, some guys that can go and score touchdowns.
Speed.
As you've heard him say, Callahan. And if you're going out there and you're getting guys like that, having a piece like Derrick Henry in the backfield, even if it's on not even rare occasions, but on smaller doses, with a 1-2 punch with Tajay, I just think that really opens up a whole lot in the passing game because they're talking about guys that can get out quick. He's talking about guys that can go out and make moves within the first 10, 20 yards and get open and separation. Well, if you've got 8 guys in the box that are with Henry back there, I just find it very difficult to have a secondary that can cover very fast, speedy receivers and also cover and stop a 250-pound running back or 240-pound running back. I don't know what his contract would look like, guys, but that's why I'm kind of asking you on this one. I don't know what his contract is going to look like. You hear about Philadelphia or Baltimore or Dallas. What would a Derrick Henry contract look like right now? Because if the Titans can afford it, especially it not being top dollar for prime running back, I think you've got to take a shot at that and keep him.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, Tony, thank you, man. Oh. The last time I looked on Spot Track, it was like 1 year, 10.5. And I don't know if he's going to get 10.5. That again, he's just the Spot Track guy's like, well, this guy got
more
this,
or less, right?
It's just an average of similar players. I was in the locker room or in the press room when he came off the field and came in there and told 211 people goodbye. I mean, Layden, you were on the field when he got the microphone away from Lance and told everybody in the stadium goodbye. I don't know if if they offered him the most ridiculous amount of money, maybe he'd be like, okay, I'll find a way to come back and, try. He wants to go somewhere and win a Super Bowl. That's all he's talked about. I mean, he said goodbye to everybody. I don't even know Maybe Baltimore, Miami, or somebody says, hey, man, we can give you 2 years, $10 million. Baltimore, 2 years, $10 million. 2 years, $12 million, whatever it is. And he might go, I'll take it because I want to go there and try to win a Super Bowl. And he got his $50 million deal. He got all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he got his rookie deal, he was a second-round pick. I'm just going to throw him $4 million. It's probably about what the total of that was. So he has endorsements, State Farm, all kinds of stuff. He has other income streams. I mean, I don't know if he necessarily would go somewhere just because they offered him the most at this point. I think the combination of a fair contract and a chance to win, I just think that's what he wants based on everything that he said.
Well, it kept, a chance to compete for a Super Bowl.
Yep.
That's not where the Titans are at. But you just never know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he'll be, I don't know, for whatever reason, I think he's going to be around that $7 million range, even if it's for a 1 or 2 year deal. I think people are going to value him. They feel like he's going to be the last physical piece to the party to get it done. So, yeah, I'm thinking Ravens, Dolphins, Cowboys.
If I had a good O-line, he led the AFC in rushing behind the worst offensive line in football last year. Like you said, that's special. You know what else is special? Ding Dong of the Week. It's time to hit that next. Ding Dong of the Week. You got a ding dong. Get us in the F&M Bank chat. Lonzo dropped a ding dong earlier in the chat. He said, whoever hired Buck to the station 3 years ago, that was his ding dong. So if you got a ding dong, you want to get
That's their anniversary.
It's their anniversary. So if you got a ding dong, you be nice to Buck. 615-737.
You took my ding dong.
1045. Blaine and Mickey, ring a ding ding dong. Time for the Monday edition of Ding Dong of the Week, courtesy of Mr. Mark Spain. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today, like now, and start packing. You've been thinking about moving. Mark is thinking about moving you on, man. They'll get it done. You don't have to paint the kitchen or anything. Just call Mark Spain. Go to markspain.com. It's over. Let's get Eric up here. Eric with a quick ding dong to start the ding dongery today on Blaine and Mickey. What's up, Eric?
Hey, guys, I just hope I can make it through this without busting out laughing, guys. You probably heard about this story. Now, a plus-size model, I think her name was Sophie Hall, had a 10-year-old son. She reached out over social media to Tyreek Hill so he could enroll in his football camp. So they got together. I think it was either at his residence or her residence. I don't know what the deal was. So the thing was that Tyreek Hill invited this plus-size woman to tackle him, and she did, and she apparently put the full force of her weight on him, and the reports are that he was real embarrassed that she did that. So then he decides he's going to tackle her. So he puts the full force of his weight and tackles her, and in so doing, allegedly, he breaks her leg. And now the reports are that she's filed a $75,000 lawsuit against him. Now, look, you can't make stuff like this up. I mean, he definitely deserves.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, he definitely deserves responsibility for this, but she's got to take a large part of the blame, too, for allowing him to tackle her. I mean, they both get a ding dong, guys. Y'all take care. We'll talk again soon.
Oh, man, I saw this 2 days ago.
That
I just
headline.
started dying laughing. I even had to click on the pictures. I was like, Tyreek, he might have hurt himself. Oh, horrible, man. It looked horrible, man. She was kind of blowed up though. Boy, she looked like she was messing around, man.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I will go with my ding dong, and that is naturally the NCAA and their, I guess, lawsuit with the NIL and everything else involved with Tennessee and everybody else is so ding dongery from the beginning without having too much of nothing.
Yeah, the retroactively trying to enforce rules that didn't exist was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And they proved it was dumb by losing in court. And now they can't enforce any NIL rules because there are none legally in Tennessee and Virginia.
Boy, I would be.
What the heck?
I would be. Let's just.
Somebody need to get fired.
And money would be changing hands at a rapid rate if I was involved at a big school right now and had unlimited funds to work with. There's no rules.
Yeah,
Can't enforce any rules right now.
We can't be having Tennessee just having 3 players there at the combine now.
Nope. I'm going to pay enough people to at least,
At least they look like they can be there.
100%. In 3 years. In 3 years. 10 people at the combine.
Yeah,
now give me my money to hand out.
Yeah, right. You got to look the part, right? So would you rather see Eddie George walk off the bus first or Blaine Bishop? Who's more intimidating?
The hitman.
That's how it works, man. It's like, no, don't get off yet, Blaine. You just hold up for a second, man. What, you gonna give me something? No. We just don't want you to be first. Get off the bus.
I would still want Eddie. If I was TSU, I would have Eddie get off the bus first. He still looks like himself.
He said, "Yeah, Blaine, you got at least look like we could."
Like you're gonna be in the second flight of people to get off the bus.
Go stand on that second row. When they go, you go.
Yeah. When we say go to the second flight, that's you.
They made fun of me being a peep squeak.
Hey man, you did the talking with your shoulder pads.
Rottweiler, man.
Rottweiler's bite.
I never die.
Bananas. I think you're going to take a shot at Alabama while they're down. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Typical Tennessee.
100%. They swept them this year.
He's got his UT golf shirt on and everything.
My ding dong of the week is the Alabama security guards at their Coliseum practicing for a court storming. Where they had all their security guards have it looked like some kind of string or rope, and they all got in a line and they were holding it because I guess they were prepared for Alabama to knock off Tennessee and storm the court, and then they ended up losing the game anyways. So that is my ding dong of the week, practicing for something that wasn't even going to happen.
Can I just tell you, as a former athletic administrator, you have to practice for every scenario. Mm. I know you've had a field day with that. So of all my Tennessee buddies, a couple of them sent it to me.
Did you practice the fire drill?
Well, fire like
High
in school.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still.
Nobody was really paying attention to her.
Have a tornado drill where it's like go in the hallway and put a book over your head. That'll fix it. I mean, I guess what else are you going to do? But
they were just too confident.
they confidently put that rope out there.
Yeah. They also, is a rope really going to stop if 10,000 people rush the court? Like, let's be honest here. Is a rope and 7 security guards going to stop?
What if they just won and beat Tennessee and said, we're at home, we should beat them, we're not going to rush the court?
See,
Then what?
it's still a ding-dongery for them to practice it. Also, yeah.
There's a
ranked
bunch of people
Alabama
right
team,
now. I
yeah.
promise you, if I still worked in college athletics, we would have everybody is working on that.
I mean, after what's happened over the last month with the court storming.
By the way, the Duke guy who he was going to send him to the ER,
fine.
he's
He was
just out there
fine.
balling the other night.
was fine.
No, he's not going to make it. And Caitlin Clark even passed Pistol Pete. She's so beat up after her court storm.
Oh, yeah.
those
Congrats.
are ding-dongs as well. It's all
All her
these
records, man.
complaining about the
Let's watch.
injuries to star players on the court stormings that have not.
Indiana Fever.
You think they're going to get her?
Oh, if not, then they are ding dong.
Do they have the number 1 pick?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then they might as well just call her and say, we're on the clock.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Welcome to Indiana.
Dum 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 dum.
My guy Tyler Owens, that's a guy that I told you he would run the 40 the fastest of anybody. That was my pick. Remember, I called my shot.
Oh,
He pulled his groin and never finished the 40.
he pulled his abductus longus.
He also said space isn't real at the combine. But then he broad jumped 12.2, which is 1 inch short of the world record. He broad jumped 12.2.
Is that where he tore his groin?
No, he tore it trying to run his 140 that he didn't finish. Then he had a 41-inch vert, which is the best of all the safeties.
Oh, that dude, he must be super explosive. He did a 12-2 and then he did 40. Oh, man.
41. And
I wanted to see this 40. What did he run that 40 in? Did
and
he
he
finish
is.
it?
He didn't finish his 40. He pulled
What was
his
his
groin.
measurables, you know?
But
But he didn't even finish the first one? Oh,
No, he pulled up and pulled out.
dang it.
This dude said also that he didn't believe in space at one point during the week. Because you asked Jim Wyatt what kind of questions are they asking him.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him about space. He's like, yeah, I don't really believe in any of that.
He's 6'2" and 3/8.
He's full size. He started at Texas, went to Texas Tech, finally
safety?
played. That's somebody that if he's there in the 7th round, it's like, hey, man, we're going to draft you.
Safety?
Yes. Hey, man, we're going to draft you, and you can play special teams for 2 years. You can figure else everything out later. We promise we'll never try to send you to space.
216 pounds.
Ooh.
At 6'2" and 3/8.
Ooh. Ooh.
He's rocked up.
He got a neck.
Not much you want. His head just kind of sits on his shoulders.
Oh, okay. He's kind of
Yeah.
like Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think he's scared.
3HL, they've got next. They'll prove it next because they will be up next on this radio station. We got to go.
But in the meantime,
In between time.
peace.